Chris Watkin here, joined by the wonderful Clare Hughes, who is an estate agent extraordinaire. Used to work for Purplebricks, now for EXP as our own self-employed estate agent. Very prevalent on social media, a voice for women estate agents. Thanks for joining me today, Claire. I'd like to ask you your story, your ups and downs, your fears, frustrations, your hopes and dreams, so other people watching this can learn this. Is that okay?
Absolutely fine, and thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you for coming up to Grantham. So, when did you first see the light of property?
Right, okay, so I've got 3 children, and it was really once I'd had my family that I started looking for something to do work-wise again.
Okay.
I'd been in recruitment before that. A friend of mine was a relocation agent. I saw there was a gap in the market for a relocation agent in East London, which is where I live. So I targeted that market, and I spent quite a few years relocating people coming from Delhi, Frankfurt, the States. Loved it.
What did you love about I mean, you were spending other
People.
people's hours.
It's people. It's always the people.
But you never met these people, did you? Or did you meet them early on?
I didn't meet them before. I would pick them up on the day, and I'd have a brief of the kind of properties they were looking for, and then I would go out and show them properties.
You were almost spending other people's money, weren't you?
Most of them were rentals, and in most of them it was the companies that were paying.
Okay. And what did you like about it particularly? The fact that you took someone else and was able to, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, go on.
It was just finding out their stories and helping them, because for a lot of people, it was a huge deal. They were coming to a new country. Sometimes it wasn't their first language. So sometimes I would go around supermarkets with them and sort of introduce them to how we work in the UK. I found, interestingly, the Americans were the ones that were most nervous coming to the UK.
Why is that?
I'm not sure, because we share a common language, whereas the Germans coming over here, they didn't have a problem with it. The people coming from Delhi, no problem.
What was the Americans' biggest fear?
Very narrow roads, very small cars, and I don't know, they couldn't get the same product in the supermarket, literally.
Oh dear, bless them. I mean, how old were your children when you did start work in 2002?
So that would be, Morgan would be about 3, I guess.
Okay.
So going to nursery.
Okay. Did you feel guilty in any way that you were going back to work so early? And no, I wouldn't ask that question.
I was just about to say that. I was just about to say that. And 3, she was at nursery anyhow, and the boys were at school.
Okay.
I needed to do something.
Right, okay.
And that was the important thing. I needed to do something, because staying at home with the children was, I'd done that.
Yes.
They were now at school and nursery. Yes, so.
So you were in relocation until 2009. So what made you want to go to the dark side and become an estate agent?
The financial crash, people stopped moving. It was mostly the finance houses in sort of Canary Wharf in the city that I was working with, and they just stopped. So I looked for an alternative, worked for an independent estate agent in the Stratford area. It's actually placed in between Stratford and Canary Wharf.
Okay, near the Olympic Village around there?
Absolutely. So I used to drive past it every day and could see it sort of growing literally over the months. And we were in a great location to be helpful to. We actually worked with the Olympic Broadcasting Service to find them accommodation as well. So it was a superb location, great fun.
What did you like? I mean, if you think about it, when you're a relocation agent, you're working for the person, the demand side. Now you're trying to get more sale. You're trying to get the houses on the market for sale or rent. Did that take a seismic change?
But I think that I was in a unique position. We have a small portfolio of properties anyhow, so I understand what, from a landlord's perspective. I could put myself in a tenant's shoes, and now I was on the other side. So I thought I was in a unique position to offer a service to everybody.
And 2009 was a tough old market. Mm-hmm. Was it good going into an estate agent's, letting agents, that was pretty tough?
It was tough, yeah, it was tough. But I still enjoyed it. What else
did you love about it?
But it's always it's still the
The
people.
people.
It's still the people, yeah. And the area. I do love East London. I do. I really. I mean, I'm not native to East London.
I was about to say, you haven't got underneath it either.
no,
Yeah.
no, I'm from Lancashire.
Okay. So what's a girl from Lancashire doing in Get Out My Pub territory? Or E17?
Married a man from Hackney.
Aren't they normally supposed to come to where the wife lives, not the other way around?
No, I'd come down to London for the bright lights.
Good stuff. So, talk to me about the years of 10, 11, 12. How are you getting on with those? I mean, obviously 2012 being the year of the Olympics.
Yeah, so the run up to the Olympics, 'cause the contracts that we got were for about a year. So it was basically service apartments. We had 250 service apartments at one point. So it was for run up to the Olympics and after the Olympics. And then I did actually take a little bit of time out because it had just been absolutely flat out for a couple of years. And then I came across Purplebricks.
So what year was that then? Because they started in 14.
Yeah, so I joined them in 2015. So I'd had contemplated setting up my own business, potentially going into partnership with somebody. That didn't work out, and to be honest, I'm quite glad that didn't happen because that would have been with a sort of traditional office and all the overhead and the staff.
So 2015, Purplebricks could do no wrong at that point, could they?
It was fun.
A lot of people say it was like a family.
The culture was amazing. So Kenny and Michael, fantastic, very charismatic guys. It was a lot of fun. It was exciting. We were shareholders. We all got share options, just for doing our job. And I think that really gave us, we had ownership of the company, and that generated that culture.
And were you concerned? I mean, a lot of people say that they misled people with their advertising. What's your opinion on that?
I don't think they misled people. Obviously, if somebody doesn't read the contract, that's a different matter.
Was it quite clear in the contract you will pay if you?
Yes, of course it is, yeah. I mean, Michael is a lawyer. It's definitely.
But it wasn't hidden somewhere, was it?
No, it wasn't hidden anywhere. And, I know people sort of took them to task over that. There were occasions when people were pulled up for it, but I don't know because I wasn't there, so I can't say whether that was true or not.
But you can look everyone in the eye and say, you know damn well if you don't sell, you're going to have to pay.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you were there for 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see it as I know legally it's self-employed.
Yeah.
But did you see it yourself as your own business?
To start with, absolutely, yes. Because that's one of the first things I asked. Excuse me, I asked Kenny and Mike when I first met them, is this a business that I can sell on? Absolutely, yes. And without missing a beat, they came back and said yes. So that was important to me, to have an asset that I could sell.
When did it start not to be enjoyable?
Really, when the Bruce brothers left, I would say.
Okay.
It changed. The culture changed. The management, before that, the management had been, they'd been territory owners and they'd gone up the ranks. They understood what it was all about, and that was no longer the case. People came in from outside, and I think one of the real difficulties is if you have a self-employed model, and then you bring in people and tell them to manage people as self-employed, they're no longer running their own business.
And you think that was wrong?
That was misleading.
So why do you think it changed? Do you think the new people that got parachuted in didn't realise it was self-employed legally? I'm talking about, culture here.
I genuinely believe that the people leading the company were no longer. They no longer understood people's motivation for coming in. Whereas Kenny and Michael did. They've run businesses. They've started businesses before. I know we were running much smaller businesses.
And were you treated like employees when the new management came in?
I felt so.
Okay. So how did that make you feel?
Well, obviously, the reason I joined Purplebricks no longer existed, but it was, I was earning good money, but I was, I suppose, vaguely contemplating what I'd do sort of longer term.
Okay. Then something happened in 19, early 20, which really could have potentially messed your life up, couldn't it?
Absolutely. So I was diagnosed with a benign brain tumour. Probably, it's actually not longer after I started working with Purplebricks. Not many people in the company knew about it, but because it was benign and it, hopefully treatable without surgical intervention, I carried on. Anyhow, that intervention didn't work. So in February 2020, I had surgery to remove the tumour. So what had happened was the tumour had continued to grow and was then sort of pressing on my brainstem, causing lots of problems, as you can imagine. My facial nerve was damaged. I have no hearing on my left side. So all sorts of things.
Was that because of the tumour or because of the operation?
The hearing was damaged on the left side because of the surgery. I now have they've removed everything. So balance is an issue, hearing is an issue. It's affected my eye, obviously affected my face as well. But,
did you know that was a potential risk?
oh yes, very high risk. But what's the alternative? It's not a very good alternative.
For those people who are facing some surgery, what did you learn from that? Just so we can help the boys and girls out there.
Understand what what the problem is, and understand the problem as much as you can. So when I first got my diagnosis, there's a specific type of brain tumour. It's called an acoustic neuroma. I found there was a help group online. So I made contact with quite a lot of people and got some support that way. So make sure you're informed. Well, to my mind, some people don't want that. So I suppose it's a personal choice. I'd like to know as much as possible.
Did that help?
For me, it did, yes. Yeah. I talked to the neurosurgeons, the ENT surgeons, the facial rehabilitation team, and talked to them a lot. And my experience with the NHS is not, because I know a lot of people over the past 2 years have had all sorts of issues not having appointments. I haven't had a single appointment cancelled. I've had as much time as I need with consultants and physios, and it's been amazing.
Because you had your operation just, in early February, so just as COVID was about to hit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank God it didn't happen a couple of
weeks
weeks
later. It would have been that kind of surgery would have been bumped. I definitely would have had to wait, and don't know what would have happened in that time.
Well, what ifs we can. So, what did that surgery do to your outlook on life?
Well, the whole experience, and I would say that it's the timing of the surgery and then COVID, because the whole world ground to a halt. So I kind of ground to a halt with it, and just had time to think, and all we could do was go out for a walk with the dog and what have you. And my good friend and colleague Simon Taylor had just joined EXP, so we were talking about how it was going for him.
Love Simon, by the way.
I know, he's great. And we worked quite closely when we were with Purplebricks. So I spoke to him, and I spoke to Adam, and I spoke to Ben Moore, and I just thought, this is genius. I can do what I always wanted to do, what I hoped I was going to do with Purplebricks, but now I can do it for myself.
Okay, but surely you had some fears?
To be honest, not really. I think because of what I've been through, I wasn't fearful. Maybe.
Do you think that the tumour was a blessing in disguise?
It's part of me. It's part of where it's why I'm here, I guess. Because had I not had it, I might have just chugged along with Purplebricks.
Okay.
So without the tumour, without COVID, perhaps I would still be with Purplebricks.
Are you happier today than you were, say? Here's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Compared to the glory days of the Bruces at Purplebricks in the early days versus now.
Happier now.
Even happier now?
Yeah. Honestly, it's a great place to be.
Okay. So how long have you actually been at the coalface with EXP now?
So I started October the 1st, 2020.
Okay, so now we're filming this in January 22.
Yeah.
So we're talking a good 16 months.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't I'm not sort of full-time. I know there are plenty of agents. I mean, you look at, I'll use Simon as an example because we do work quite closely together. You know, he listed 3 properties last week. I don't want to list 3 properties. I need a slightly slower pace of life.
Okay.
Because part of my sort of ongoing health issues, I suppose, I do get fatigued and, you know, balance and things. I just don't want to be rushing about. I don't need to be rushing about.
So how many properties do you like to put on the market a month?
If I put 2 on, that's absolutely fine.
And you're happy with that level?
Absolutely.
Some people would say that would be a failure, just to have only
Well, no,
2.
it's only a failure. If you're trying to put 10 on and you put 2 on, then surely that's a failure. If you're trying to put 1 on and you put 2 on, that's a success.
Do you worry about what other people think about you in terms of
I
low
used
numbers?
to, and I don't now.
So how have you taught yourself not to be worried what other people think about you, the judgment of others?
So right at the beginning of the pandemic, I was doing some online networking, just, I don't know why, but I was. And there's a guy up in the Northwest who runs an online networking group called Move Online, Mark Waldron. And he said to me, as I picked up the phone, I said, I think this would work really well down in London as well, because they do these networking events. And he said, yeah, okay, that would be good. And he said, and we started talking about business, and I said, whatever I planned to do, I needed to do video. And I was like, can't, I've got this issue with my face. And he said, Claire, that's your superpower. So I did a video, got nothing negative, only positive. And I thought, I can do this. Mm-hmm. I went from there.
And really, do you think you would have that fear if you didn't have the issues with your face? I've
always hated video, doing video work. You know, with used to management training courses and things. So
do you think you were using that issue and blaming it on your face, when in reality the issue wasn't your face, it was actually...
Exactly, that's what Mark said, it's my superpower, so I can blame everything on that, can't I?
So what would you say to someone who doesn't have something like you? What would your message be to embrace it?
Whatever your fears are, face your fears and do it anyhow.
Do you think you've grown as a person?
Over this 2 years, absolutely.
And if I had your husband next to me, what would he say about you?
I think he'd say he was proud of me.
I hope so. And your children?
Oh, yes.
Good stuff. How old are they now?
28, 25 and 23.
Good stuff.
I've got to get that right. They might say this.
What would your message be to someone out there? And we don't want to turn this into an EXP fest.
No.
Okay. But what would your message be to someone out there who is fearful of making the jump into self-employed agency?
It isn't for everybody, because you have to put yourself out there, and it doesn't matter how you're going to do that. You do have to put yourself out there, and it could be door knocking, it could be social media. But if you're contemplating it, then speak to other self-employed agents and see what their experience is, because there are some people that have tried it and it hasn't worked for them. So I'd try and speak to both parties, really.
And what does the future hold for you?
Carry on doing what I'm doing.
Okay.
I love introducing other people to the model as well. I'm
Okay.
enjoying doing that and speaking to people, telling them about the model, but carry on selling and letting properties.
Well, thank you for your time today. I hope you've learned something, boys and girls, from Claire.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
That's okay. And what we're going to do next is a series of individual topic videos, which will go alongside on our YouTube channel. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Chris.
Chris Watkin, joined by the wonderful Clare Hughes from EXP. Claire, why do some EXP people seem more interested in selling EXP than selling houses? Talk to me.
They're not, is the answer.
Okay.
If you look at the number of agents that are trying to attract other agents to EXP, yes. You'd call it selling. I don't call it selling. It is we want to attract agents to the company.
Okay.
It's very few. It's just you see them, therefore you see them all the time. You see them everywhere.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's like when you decide you want to buy a Mini,
Indeed.
or you see Minis over
everywhere.
But when I see posts of some, not all, and I must stress for the record, I am a fan of EXP. Other self-employed models are available, and I am a fan of those. I am a big fan of EXP. So that anyone who gets arsey and offended, I do like EXP. I love the model. I love the cult. I love the culture.
Yes, it's
Okay,
great.
and I tell you here and now, I'm not aware of any other self-employed model where the culture is it is better. Okay, I think you are the best when it comes to culture. So can we just get that one out of the way?
That's great,
Before you
yeah.
all start slagging me off, you lot, like a bloody cult. Okay. But when we've got cheesy pictures of people with their kids taking them to school and it says work-life balance, if you want to be an estate agent, give me a call. I'm just thinking to myself, geez, City. I know you don't do that.
No, I don't do that. But if that might resonate with a different audience. I mean, that's not what I do because I don't
you
have
don't.
school-aged children either. So
No, you're. If you don't mind me saying, you're good because you go out there, you give value, and then you say, if you're interested, give me a shout. What you're doing.
I don't always do that either.
No, you don't. I'll give you that as well. The likes of you, Scotty can be a bit on and off, bless him. Ben, definitely, he's good. Don't get me wrong, Scott's always good.
Scott's great.
But the issue is, are you trying to sell it or are you trying to get people to buy it?
But there's nothing to sell. So there's nothing to sell
but
or
there's
to
a
buy.
financial
really.
motive, isn't there?
There is, but of course, we are all shareholders.
Yes.
EXP agents, just for doing their job, we get shares. We get gifted shares in our company.
Okay.
So it is within, we want the company to do well, because if the company makes money, we make money. If the share price increases,
Yeah, but I'm talking about actually you bringing someone on that earns you a couple of grand a year.
potentially not. If they don't sell houses, they don't.
Okay. But I mean, there are some agents that have even dropped being an estate agent and just becoming a guru.
But that's.
That's their choice.
It is their choice. It is their choice. But of course, we don't want to just attract agents who want to just sign up and attract other agents, because if we don't transact, if agents don't transact, we don't make money.
So am I being awful by actually saying that it's
You're
just
being awkward.
okay? But I've got to challenge you lot because some of you out there are being a bit. Surely you must see some of your colleagues in the EXP thinking, because they're actually, if you're not careful, they're actually potentially ruining your story.
I just think you're over. You see it all the time because you're looking for it.
Of course I am, because I think you lot could do better.
Mm-hmm. And also, I don't think that would necessarily work either. Though if you're saying the content that you're saying, I'm not sure that would work to attract agents.
Exactly. I'm glad we agree.
No. I don't think, but I don't know, because it might resonate with a different audience. But if it doesn't work, then they're not going to continue doing that. But very few EXP agents globally work on agent attraction. About 10%, and there's about 71,000 across the world now.
And what's your balance? Bit of both, selling and...
Bit of both, yeah.
So what tips would you give to anyone who's in EXP that wants to, as part of their income portfolio, I love that phrase, attract other agents? What advice would you give to and I'm not, this is advice that is not, Ben does it well, Scott does it well most of the time. I love what Simon does. I love what you do.
That's very kind.
And I mean that.
Very kind.
Okay. But what advice would you give to the people who are just out there being a bit Barra boyish?
They're not Barra boys.
Yes, they are. It's my opinion.
Well,
okay.
Agreed
What
to
advice?
differ.
We agree to disagree.
So look at the agents who perhaps, if that's something you want to do, then look at the agents who are more successful at it. And it's,
And give me some clearly defined things. What should they be doing?
Putting out content that adds value, is interesting, and then also just follow up on all your contacts. It doesn't happen. People will not necessarily come to you.
So almost give in public and ask in private.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah,
Lovely.
it's your mantra anyhow.
It certainly is. Thank you for your time today. I was being a little bit cheeky.
I know.
Okay, but again, if you don't think you're going to get away lightly when you come on the Watkinsofa.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you for your time.